So, I admit, I've stayed a little bit quiet on this story. There are some stories every transfer window that don't really grab you, that don't hold your attention so much that you sort of drift away from and don't want to report on because you're not 100% sure how accurate they are, that sort of thing. After all, this has been mostly unconvincing and loose, and we made a bid, but it wasn't a big bid, sort of things. However, since then, new views have come to light, which makes the entire thing very, very interesting, in my opinion, because Leeds United have reportedly made a brand new bid for Gus Hamer at Sheffield United. Now, before the ham sandwich man gets really mad and pink in the face and irritable, we're going to go through absolutely everything in this video. We're going to go through what exactly has been said, what Leeds have done, how it changes the situation, what Hamer's stance is, and ultimately whether or not we'll sign him, in addition to a quick look at Questions Corner, obviously, because I'm recording this one live at about midnight. But before I dive into it, I'm just going to draw your attention to a quick little bit of data. 65% of you still aren't subscribed to the channel. Trying to get to 5k by the transfer deadline. I need every single one of you guys to help out if you can. That'd be hugely appreciated. Thank you. So, diving into the Gus Hamer stuff, first up we need to talk about what has been said. There have been several ITK accounts that have been talking Hamer for a little while now. So, for example, one that I and, for example, Joe Wainman and Jer and others like that, at least I think Jer does, see as reasonably reliable, FPLG 23, has said that there has been a bid where if a club, being sort of vague, were to say no to the amount of money that we're putting on the table right now, they would be incredibly silly to do so. In addition to that, I've heard from other ITK people that Leeds have put in another bid. It's a pretty big bid as far as I'm aware. I've not heard the numbers, but I've heard potential to sort of break championship records, which is sort of impressive because I think the record is 16, 17 million-ish. So that would be a wild sum if we were to go for it. But ultimately, that means that what Leeds have done is put a significant amount of cash on the table in front of Sheffield United and said, look, your best asset right now, we've got the money. Do you want to do the deal? And I think they're going to find it fairly hard to say they don't want the deal, because in my opinion, this changes the situation vastly, like to an untold degree. We were told when Leeds initially made a bid that there were two bidders. At the same time, there was a bid of about 13 million quid, and there was another bid that was a little bit closer, a little bit more on the nose. Leeds were reportedly the £13 million bid, and we seem to have followed that £13 million bid up by going, okay, cool. That wasn't good enough for you. What about this? Because now we know roughly what the price tag is. My theory is that that £13 million was something to open the door, to start the conversation, to get in and say, look, we're interested. What do you think, Gus? And by that point, we've made the approach. We're allowed to talk to the player now. So we can also get in Gus Hamer's head, but we can also find out from Sheffield United. They imagine they sort of come out of the conversation going, no, you need another 5 million for that. Now we know the price tag. You don't immediately come in swinging with 20 million quid, because then you might have spent more than the initial need. Basically, now we know what we have to spend. Now we have put in a bid that is reportedly going to be enough. And importantly, Gus Hamer's stance doesn't exactly work against us right now. As far as all of the reports say, he's open to the move. Because you look at the two sort of projects and you compare and contrast them, and you see that the Leeds project has just signed Ramazani. It's got Solomon for the season. It's a very, very good side. Potentially got Tanaka coming in as well. We ain't a bad team right now. We're a very strong attacking team. We're a team where he would make a lot of chances for a lot of very good footballers. So it would not only improve his numbers, he'd not only have a decent chance of getting back to the Premier League, but even if it didn't work out, he's going to find a move somewhere if it doesn't happen. Because we're going to make him look really good in the process, like we did with Ruter and Somerville. Because we've proven that if we don't go up, we do provide a route out. As much as it hurts the fans, it's good for the players and it will draw them in. So ultimately, I think the question becomes quite simple. will we sign him? In my opinion, it's going to be very, very hard for us to do. But if we've put enough money on the table, we can get it done. The one thing that concerns me right now is the fact that Chris Wilder has set such a firm and staunch stance against the sale that if the board were to work against him and say, no, we need that much money, that causes chaos in the camp, and it means that they might not want to sell because that would show that there is discord on the final days of the transfer window, which is really bad for them. Horrendous. But it's really good for us, especially if we can get this deal done. I'm about 60-40 towards us getting it done at the moment. I'm optimistic if we can do. But I am also aware that there are concerns that it's going to be a very, very tough one to get done. But that's what I think. I'm going to bring us over to Questions Corner for 2 or 3 questions on the Gus Hamer stuff. To the live chat right now. If you could keep it Gus Hamer focused, that would be absolutely fantastic. Purely because, as you know, I've got another video that I'm recording in about 10 minutes' time. So you can save the other stuff for that one. So that would be absolutely fantastic if you could. But aside from that, whilst I'm waiting for a couple of questions to roll in, what do you think if you're watching the video back? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet. Trying to get to 5,000 by the transfer deadline, and I know it's going to be a big push, and I'll need every single one of you on the side, but that'd be fantastic. So, hopping over to Questions Corner, we'll do 2 or 3. First up, we have viewers. Have you liked and subscribed? That wasn't even a plan. That's just Marcus being a good dude. What's the crack with players coming in? Effectively, it seems to be a case of Leeds United have made an improved offer for Gus Hamer that is going to be very, very hard for Sheffield United to turn down, especially when they've already struggled a little bit with financial stuff recently and financial regulations and potential fines and stuff like that. So it's looking fairly promising in terms of the Hamer thing. Tanaka, we've also seen a little bit of promising movement on. I'll get into that detail in a little bit further when I'm recording that specific video, but effectively that one is looking almost done. Outside of that, probably looking at a left back, and beyond that, it's hard to say. Next question up. If we get Hamer, who else do we get? I think Tanaka will come through. I think we'll get a left back, and then it'll just be a question of replacing anyone that leaves. For example, if Max Vuba were to go, then he would need a replacement, obviously. But outside of that, I'm not 100% sure. And I will go with the final question. Is there anyone else other than Hamer that could fit the role? I think you've got the likes of Ilan Cabal that has been discussed quite a lot at Paris FC. Outside of that, I'm not 100% sure because Hamer seems like he's got a very sort of passing profile that would, as Russ says, fit the system quite well. He'd be absolutely perfect with the through balls for the likes of Dan James and Nonto and Ramazani. Just delicious. We're building a side that will just terrify teams. As Skip said, I just hope that we secure all of these players and we're in the best position possible once the season actually comes in full swing. And the most important thing that I'm going to leave you with is that Chris Wilder is going to be absolutely fuming if it happens. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, even become a channel member. It's 99p for a month, and you get videos such as this one, basically as soon as they're recorded, rather than when they come out. So a good few hours early. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Ta-ra. Poor ham sandwich, man. He's going to really struggle with this one, isn't he? Might even upgrade to bacon.